First story. I, 49M, am going to tell my wife, 47F, tonight that I want her to never talk to her crush again. First, I will remind her that a lie of omission is still a lie. For context, I have been married to my wife for 13 years, and I really do love her enough to be willing to stay with her even though she had a month-long emotional affair in August 2023. She has never lied to me, and when I became suspicious, told me about the friend that she had made at work. Of course my language is wrong, it was merely a crush and that they never got physical, but only when I asked about it, and she deleted a lot of texts that supposedly would support her claim that they never actually did anything, except becoming inappropriate, but I believe her. She then angrily told me that she would just never have any friends. So I relented, and I know that they have been communicating. She also put a password on her phone. She also has life rules, which I usually agree with, like never giving or getting an ultimatum. No absolutes like saying you never or I always, no eye rolling, and never lying. It's the ultimatum one which bothers me right now. I also have life rules, but I follow mine a lot more closely than she does. For example, the first person to use a swear word, ducking, shit, or even damn, in a discussion is already the loser. Not that I have any problems with those words, they just don't help or belong in any rational discussion. Another one is that I consider omission of facts to be equivalent to a lie, and I always try to let the other person finish what they are saying before I reply. See her eye-rolling rule. First, I will remind her that a lie of omission is still a lie, because tonight I am going to express myself, and I am going to tell her to totally break contact with him. She is going to say that same old thing about how he is only a friend now, and that she is allowed to have friends, to which I will reply with, you are allowed to have friends, but you can't have this one because he was more than a friend, even if that's all in the past. I will tell her that she can text him one more time, and she can make up any excuses that she wants. She can say I am being irrational and controlling, as long as it's the last time that she talks to him. I will also tell her that I can release the evidence that I have a couple of screenshots where they were flirting. They talked about where their hands go during a hug to his fiancée. Now I can visualize how this can go. 1. She says no, and I tell her that it's either me or him. I can see this going two ways also. 1. She stands firmly on her high horse and chooses him, which I will say alright, good night, go to bed and move out tomorrow while she is at work. And then I contact his fiancé. 1b. She chooses me and I ask for her passcode for her phone, but I trust her enough not to go through her phone. Seriously. I trust her as long as she gives me the right passcode. 2. She agrees right away and takes all of the wind out of my sails. See 1b for further information. There is of course a lot more to all of this, including my handicap, which makes it difficult to talk. I am not asking for advice or your personal opinion of me. I wrote this to bolster myself. I published it to bolster yous. Tonight I will tell my wife to drop her. Update. So I had the conversation with my wife last night. The conversation went something like this. I need to talk to you about something that you said last night. You said that sex is off the table and you don't have feelings for me anymore. Well, first, sex is definitely not off the table. I need that physical intimacy to feel loved. I am just that way. So you have to decide right now if we are ever going to be sexual beings again. And I don't know equals no, just like it does when I ask you if you are coming to bed. Side note, she often sleeps all night on the couch, because it supports her back better, and because we have 5 cats, and they can persuade either one of us into napping on the couch. To which she replied, and I am paraphrasing, I understand that you have feelings about our sex life, and I want to meet your needs. Then she became annoyed at this point and shouted, and I quote, I am angry with you because you don't understand that it's not about you. Which is true, I don't understand. Because up through that last time in April of 2018, I thought that our sex life was pretty good. She had told me to simply ask, and she would do it. She even initiated some foolery when I was in the hospital. And I have always been an attentive lover, because for me the giving of the body is the most intimate of saying I love you. Which is why I have only been with 2 women since I was 25, and one of them was my ex-wife, who I was faithful to. Her, not so much. I am now 49. So I told her that I don't understand, and she said, again I am pretty much quoting her, the last time that we did it, she felt like I was just using her for a warm wet hole. And that she felt dirty for some reason. Now, isn't that the exact opposite of what she had just yelled at me? So somehow I made sex feel wrong. Even though we both got gratification from it, and nothing felt off and it was pretty vanilla sex. But it is not me who is to blame for her loss of interest in sex, which is what I thought that it was, until her crush came along. And I said as much to her. Me, stop using the word crush. You are not a preteen, nor is this a thing for a celebrity. You have made me feel like I am always going to be second to someone else, and that is an affair. To which she said, again quite angry with me, I had a brief moment of sexual desire for him, and I never acted on it. So I said, no matter how brief, it's still more than I have gotten in 6 years, and that pretty much shut her up. She argued with me about the 6 years, and I described in detail our last bout of lovemaking and what happened after, because it was right before my birthday in April, and she had asked me what I wanted for it. So it has been 5, almost 6 years. So at this point, I figured that I would double down on telling her what I really feel. Me, I do appreciate that you will allow me to snuggle with you, but I am tired of being allowed to do so. If you don't want to snuggle me, then don't. Just don't. I am tired of hoping that things will get better. I am tired of trying to do the things that are necessary just to maintain our broken relationship. I am tired of trying to kiss you and getting nothing in return. So we went back and forth about what I was expecting from her. And I told her that I wanted to see her to actively try to progress through this together. She brought up her going to counseling, but I don't recall her actually saying that she would. Then I went all in and said, me, you refused to see what your relationship with her emotional affair partner has done to me. And you have shown no remorse or cared enough to actually put yourself in my place. You have to totally break ties with her, Aya. To which she agreed immediately. She does listen to a lot of videos on YouTube. So she was probably expecting to hear that from me, probably a little sooner. And that kind of took the wind out of my sails. I did tell her that I wouldn't share her heart, mind or body with anyone else. She assured me that didn't. And I told her this too. You have to understand that you are hot, especially since you are at the exact body shape that I apparently have a thing for, and I am still a man, with man hormones and all that comes with them. I wouldn't call them needs exactly, but I definitely can't help myself from thinking lewd thoughts about you. You are the only woman in my life, and you are my wife. Not that I am saying that you have to respond in the same way or feel obligated to have sex with me. I want you to want me. I would like to explore how we could have sex. As frustrating as that can be, it could also be fun and creative. As long as we are honest with each other about what is working and what isn't. It can't be bad about wanting to be physical with you. You are my wife after all. I refuse to feel like I am a bad person because I want to have sex with you. I shouldn't feel bad when I want to push you up against a wall and kiss you into submission. Like I used to. Now I don't even remember how to show you that I want you, other than to tell you outright or to awkwardly feel you up. And then I am being too needy or misogynistic, like only my needs matter. But I really can't help myself, and I am never going to stop trying. By touching you inappropriately or trying to hold you close to me, and by flirting with you, innuendo and such, or by trying to soul kiss you. Because you make me feel passionate. I hope that we can have an open and honest discussion about this. Just remember that I love you always and forever. I don't think that it will as well received as I had hoped for, probably because when I use my text-to-speech app it takes all of the emotion out and it doesn't take into account when someone wants to say something. So we sat in the car and talked for a little bit longer, mostly about how I feel like I am pushed out, and I may have cried in frustration. Part of my disability is being able to speak clearly, which can be very frustrating after a while. So she went to bed almost as soon as we got home, eschewing the dinner that I had prepared for us for when we got home. But before she went to bed, she kissed me goodnight and told me that she really does love me, and she looked right into my eyes when she said it, and in that moment I believed her. And then she went to bed, and I stayed up for a little while. Eventually I fell asleep on the couch, probably because of my meds along with several cats helping me off to dreamland. This morning she woke up alone in the bed, which is what often happens to me. I swear that I didn't plan to sleep on the couch. It must have stirred something up in her, because the vibe today is not what I expected. She was very attentive this morning, and before she left for work she actually said that she was aware that the conversation was not over, and that we still had more to discuss. Just that right after her 10-hour shift was not great timing. I then started to say that there was no good time to discuss this, but she cut me off and said exactly that. So we agreed to sit down and talk more by the weekend. Then she left for her shift. I don't know what she is really going to say to her EA, but I told her that she could say anything. Even what a terrible person I am. As long as it was the last time she communicated with him. She said that she was going to tell him that I was uncomfortable with them talking, and that she was going to work on her marriage, which is the truth, but I really don't give two shits what he thinks of me. She also thinks that the might be premenopausal, and I saw her look up hormone therapies online this morning. She said that she is hoping to get her libido back, so I think that there is some hope. I plan to tell her exactly how I feel, man tears and all, and I will ask that she goes to counseling, at least for herself if not for us together. I have counseling for my disability, and I don't really know if it helps, but maybe talking to a total stranger who is paid to listen to her and keep her confidence will be better than turning to her friends, or me. Certainly better than turning to other. I am making fun of myself here. You folks in this forum are far nicer than in the other forums I have posted in. Some people, am I right? No wonder they are divorced and miserable. That is just how they see life. Me, I prefer hope over despair, love over mean-spiritedness. So far it's been a cathartic experience, and I think that it's going to work out eventually. Today, at least I feel better. Once again, I am posting this because there is hope. Update. I told my wife to break all communication between her and her EA, and I am sure that she told him. But I want to know how that conversation went. Like the title says, 2 days ago I basically said that she had to stop communicating with the guy who is making me uncomfortable. And yesterday she talked to him when I was not around. When I asked her about it, she said that he called her, and she told him that her conversing with him was making me uncomfortable, and that it had to stop. She said that it was a 4-minute phone call. I did tell her that she could say pretty much anything that she wanted, as long as it's the last communication between them. So what I didn't think to ask until this morning was what he said. So I asked her about it this morning and she said he understood, I guess. Apostrophe. So what does that mean? It's the I guess part that worries me. I have only met this guy once, and he only knows me through what she has told him, and I am sure that she has not painted me in the best light to him. Although I am also sure that she has never given him any reason to think that I don't love her more than anything, or that I am a bad person. Now for the squirrel cages in my head. So now I am wondering if she is lowering up on me. By that I mean taking what I say literally. Like if I asked if she would stop texting him, then maybe she would just call him instead. It's not texting, right? I did say communicating very deliberately. She has never lied to me before, and she came clean when I asked her about their relationship. And she could still be carrying on with him if she had lied, because I believe her. Does that make sense? But maybe my phrasing was not clear enough, although I did say, you have to totally break ties with Justin. Apostrophe. So how should I go about bringing this up again? Update. Fare thee well, my darlings. My wife and I did talk some serious business today, and I got a lot off of my chest and she got some off of hers too. And we agreed to be more honest. I think that I actually made a breakthrough with both of us, Tani. I have been making a real effort, and so has she. She has even cuddled up to me a couple of times this evening, and I have gotten in a couple of personal questions. Nothing serious, but I have really been trying to talk to her, trying to be the guy that I used to be. The funny, smart, snarky, semi-perv deadhead that I am still inside. But since I can't actually speak, and I have not gotten my speech device yet, I have trouble expressly. But so far tonight we have been vibing and have been feeling more like us than we have in months, maybe years. And I think that is because I really have just let it go and trust in the love of my life. I know that she is not like other women. That is why she is my second wife and I am her first husband, because I trust her. And it doesn't matter what her past has been, any more than mine. I can't let my past get ahead of my future. My time on this planet can actually be measured to the second due to the cardiac device that keeps my heart running. And I don't want to spend another minute wasted on my own personal issues. Does that make sense? Because I am trying to articulate. I swore after the first one turned out to be about town girl, that I wouldn't be such loser again, that I almost ruined my marriage over the voices in my head. And certainly didn't help. Sometimes you just gotta learn on your own. The ability to ask strangers anything that you can think of is not how I was raised, and good old-fashioned honesty has never failed me yet. So I leave you now. Thanks for all of you who actually supported me, without having to render your unasked for input and advice. To you who actually took the time to read my long-ass posts. Also, farewell to all of you doom-saying, victim-blaming, body-shaming wannabes. No wonder you are online rendering your opinions, instead of having your own lives to fuck up and destroy. That I can do on my own, and only have myself to blame. Second story. How should I, 30F, handle husband's bro's wife, 30F, who only addresses my husband, 35M? Let's say my, 30F, husband's name is Mike, 35M, and Mike's brother's, 37M, wife is named Rachel, 30F. I've always loved Rachel, but lately we have been spending more time with them since they moved closer to us, and something has been bothering me a lot. Rachel talks a lot, and she will only address my husband, ignoring me even though I'm also sitting right there. For example, if we are all together, Rachel will say, Mike, did I tell you about XYZ? Mike, I did this and blah blah. Can you believe that? Mike, etc. Even though I am also sitting right there, Rachel will only ask questions to Mike directly and never to me. Even though I'm sitting right there and I'm the only one who knows all the answers to those questions. Once Mike was on the phone and I was sitting with Mike. Rachel came up to us and said, Mike, can I ask you a question? Mike was on the phone, so I offered to help. Rachel said no, I need Mike. When Mike got off the phone, then Rachel asked Mike, can you tell me how to do X? And Mike didn't know, so Mike had to ask me to do it for him. This happens all the time. Even though I know most of the answers to all her questions, she insists on asking Mike only and never asks me. I'm planning to just keep things cordial and minimize the time we spend with them in general. But we have a trip already booked with them coming up soon, and now I'm dreading it because of Rachel's behavior. My husband does not notice at all. In fact, Mike thinks Rachel is great. Mike compliments Rachel's cooking and other stuff a lot. Mike only thinks very highly of Rachel in general. How should I handle this? Should I bring it up to Mike and ask him to address it? I don't want Mike to think I'm insecure. I also don't want him to start realizing he loves the special attention from Rachel, because it might not have hit him. Should I ask Rachel point blank next time she does it, like, Rachel, why do you keep only addressing Mike even though I'm also sitting right here, in front of everyone? Or is there a better way to put a stop to this disrespectful behavior? My husband hasn't noticed Rachel's behavior because he's clueless, and he knows she's mostly nice to me in general. I'm scared he wouldn't support me because he would genuinely think I'm overreacting, since she is mostly nice. She is not malicious to me, and at times she is caring to me. That's why I, myself, get confused about what's going on with Rachel. Also, it's his brother, and they're very close. Mike wouldn't be happy that I don't want us to spend time with his brother, just because I think his wife is disrespectful. But thanks for explaining why I should get him on the same page as me first. You all convinced me I need to talk to my husband first before doing anything else. Rachel is usually not being explicitly mean to me when we interact, but a couple instances where I felt she wasn't being nice to me. Just to make conversation, I asked Rachel and her husband what were your favorite places to see in Italy, and it seemed like Rachel didn't want to answer me. Like she was unhappy. I asked based on her facial expression. She just mumbled something to her husband and her husband answered me. She tried to make me feel bad that I don't work for a big name company like my husband does. She asked why I don't want to work in that big name company. When I answered why I'm happier in my company, culture, etc., she asked don't I want to make more money by working in the big name company. Based on past experiences, I'm pretty sure my husband will say things like, "You're overreacting, making it a big deal for no reason." She didn't mean it like that. Her intentions were good. She probably doesn't realize she's not trying to hurt you. She is nice to you. What about the time when she waited for you before we started eating? What about the time she saved you the last slice of cake, etc.? Update. We had the trip. It was just a short weekend trip, and there were other relatives of our husbands on the trip too. The context was I told Mike I was texting his female cousin about the trip, and he said I should also talk to Rachel. Before the trip, my husband Mike brought up himself that I should make sure to include Rachel, talk to Rachel, etc. because she is newer to the family compared to me. I should make an effort for Rachel to not feel left out. When I questioned why he is telling me that, Mike said that since she is his brother's wife, it's important to him that Rachel and I have a good bond since Mike is very close to his brother. I took that opportunity to tell him the times that Rachel excluded me and was not nice. Mike listened and said he never realized that was happening. I told Mike that he needs to step up to include me more, and he said he will. During the trip, when Rachel and I ended up alone, we talked nicely. Sometimes she even came up to me and initiated conversation, and sometimes I did. I only started keeping my distance after this incident. The four of us ordered food. There's a line to pick up the food. The four of us are standing together just waiting. We notice other people getting in line to pick up food. Rachel says, "Mike, can you go in the line to pick up our food?" A few times, as other people are getting in line and the line is growing. She asked Mike 2-3 times and kept moving closer to him. Mike was allowing others to come instead of pushing his way through. She came between Mike and me. Then I went next to Mike. Then all four of us went to the line together. Not sure why she kept insisting that Mike go. She could have asked her husband to go. They all weren't doing anything else. Sometimes we just kept distance from each other. I admit that as the trip progressed, I resented her from her past actions and small similar incidents she did on the trip. So I started trying to keep my distance from her and not go out of my way to engage with her. And she ended up doing the same too. At the end of the trip, she just waved bye from afar when we were leaving. Unfortunately, the same problems of Rachel going to Mike and talking to only Mike in front of me came up a few times. Mike never realized. In the moment, even I let it slide, but later when I thought about it, I realized how it was odd behavior. It did not happen very often because there weren't many opportunities for Rachel to interact with Mike given the large group of relatives on the trip. But the problem is still not resolved. Rachel is still disrespectful, and Mike does not realize when it's happening. I told Mike I'm bringing this up because Steve took care of Rachel to include her, and Mike told me I need to include Rachel, so Mike should also include me. After the trip, I complained to Mike about the times that Mike's brother took good care of Rachel, and the times Mike did not do the same for me on the trip. Mike got defensive and also said it's because he knows I take care of myself. I admit I didn't handle the situation the best with my husband because I just ended up complaining to him, which made him defend himself. At least he never tried to defend Rachel. I admit I didn't handle this correctly, and I want to do better going forward. I won't be petty, but I am seeking advice. Not sure when we will see them next. I regret that I stopped engaging with Rachel. I realize now I should have continued to be the usual nice and engaging with her. But I'm fed up that after 2 years of being nice, nothing is changing. My original post still stands that I don't want this behavior from Rachel to continue.